Hello, everybody. It's Howard the Teaser King, the professor, as we are known. Just looking at what's going on today, this morning, with odds and injuries. Let's run through the list. So we'll do this live right now. Florida State 35.5 over Mass. They should kill them, but I don't know how much I like the quarterback. If you have questions or anything, just type it up. Georgia State 10.5, 58.5. It went over under went down. Ohio State's at 21. A little, you can get a 20.5. Over unders from 58.5 to 60. Without Penix, it's just, to me, it's an Ohio State play. Buffalo 12.5 over Akron. I think that went up a little bit from 11.5. Penn State's 24 over Illinois. Penn State, again, when I look at the injuries on Clifford, it says questionable. So this looks like he's playing. The fact that the line isn't going down, but then I look at the over-under, and it's 45.5, 46. And it was 46. It was 23.5, 46 the other day, and it's 24, 45.5, 46 today. So without Clifford, it's an under. Illinois, strong defensive team, but I don't know what to do with nothing's really moving. So maybe they haven't decided yet. Virginia 6.5, 65.5. Virginia was a 7, so it's down to 6. It's down to 6.5, not much. Louisville 5.57. It was 6, so a little bit of BC money. VTech 3.5, 45.5. Clemson, Pitt still 3.5. Over under is down to 47.5. So I don't know. I like the under in any Clemson game because they're great defense and no offense. Somebody asked me on the mini Maryland game. Mini's down to 4.5, 3.5 from 5. Over under 53.5 and 54. So money's going on Maryland. Don't know why. Michigan 23.5. Michigan is 23.5, 24, 51. I had a 23.5, 51. That hasn't moved. We'll see. They got Michigan State coming up next Saturday, so let's see how they play. Central went from 5 to 6. Kent, Ohio. Kent 5.5. 66 went to 67, so some over on that game. Kent's an over team, but Ohio has a weak defense, so there could be scoring. Cincinnati, that's from seeing action, is 28.5. I had it at 27 when I did the show on Wednesday. 28.5s, a couple 29s, and over-unders of 49 to 48. So a little bit more. Definitely like Cincy here. Again, they must win for the playoffs, so look for them, to kill Navy. NC State and Miami. NC State's 3.5, 54.5. That's about what it was at. It was 52. Wake Forest and Army. Wake is 3, 52.5. Really hasn't moved. Army's quarterback still listed as questionable, and although I am surprised by the low point spread, I thought it should be 7 or at least. Without their quarterback, Wake's a much better team than Wisconsin. They got a much better offense, and the defense is similar. And Army, we know, has a great defense, and without the quarterback Anderson, their offense is okay. But I don't know that I don't really know. I love Army anytime I can get them, but I don't know that I love them here. I think the line's too low. Last week it was 14. You take 20. Here it's 3. You get 9. And Wake Forest has a really good quarterback in Hartman and good defense. And Army, without their quarterback, they're just not as strong. So I don't know, maybe the under though at 52 down to 58.5. Probably is the play in this game if you want to play this Army game. South Florida is actually favored over somebody. It's scary, 255. Eastern 4 was 3, so some money on Eastern. Houston 13.5 from 13, 56.5. So the under is going, money on the under. Oklahoma 38.5 is still there, 66.5, 67. So that hasn't changed. I like Oklahoma there. I think Kansas is just so bad. Ball State 4. So Ball State was 5.5, money on Miami of Ohio. Both teams are even. So I don't know what to expect in the MAC. The MAC's so inconsistent. Wyoming 20, still 20. So nothing's changed in the Wyoming game. Colorado Cal 8.5. Cal was a 9, so it's down to 8.5. 44. Colorado's an under team. I'm surprised the over went from 43 to 44. Oregon State, Utah's 3. That's what it was. 57. It was 56. That's a good over. I thought it would be an under, but really Utah scored a lot of points in most of their games, and Oregon State scores a ton, and especially if they need it. They got a good quarterback and this running back, Baylor. So they'll be able – they seem to want to run the ball more than pass it, but they can pass it when they need to. And I definitely see Oregon State. I like this game over because Utah's defense, Utah will score and Oregon State will score. And, they're at home. And I like Oregon State as the home dog there. BYU 4 over Washington State. Same spread. UCLA is now 1 in 61. And it was 2.5 and 60. I like Oregon as a live dog in that game. But they have some injuries, but again, they're linemen. So what does that mean? As long as that quarterback who beat Ohio State's playing, and they beat Ohio State as a road dog. So, so you go back on memory, right? You go, oh, we went into Ohio State and won. So, and UCLA is good, but their defense isn't that good. It could also be an over game. But Oregon's defense is pretty good. I think this is a dog game. Texas Tech is sometimes they're getting 1, sometimes it's even. Sometimes they're laying a half. That's mostly you can get K-State as a road favorite -1. So if you like Texas Tech, there's a home dog. Excuse me. West Virginia, TCU 4.5 and 57 hasn't moved. Iowa State 7.47 hasn't moved. Oak State's a live dog in this game. Rice UAB -23 went up to 24. Probably just betting against Rice. Alabama started at 27, 25. There's a 24.5 at a couple places, 68.5. So that went from 67 to 68. Looks like the Tennessee quarterback Hooker is going to play, but this reminds me of the Ole Miss game where Alabama is. I got Alabama. Yeah, where they're just going to pound the ball down Tennessee's throat. Tennessee doesn't have that great of a defense. Pitt beat them pretty bad. So I look for Alabama match up well, throwing the ball and doing their 40-point show like they always do. South Carolina A&M, 19.5. So that's gone down. A&M was 21.5. It's down to 19.5. Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. Ole Miss's quarterback, Coral, is out. And let's see if the line shows it. Oh no, Mississippi State. Let's go back. Mississippi State quarterback Rogers is questionable. The line 20.5. So the line hasn't moved, so he must be playing. Over under 52. Vanderbilt's terrible. They won't score much for you if you're thinking of the over. Wisconsin and Purdue. Come on. Wisconsin 3.5, 40.5. It was 3 and 40, so not much movement. A little bit on Wisconsin. I think Purdue is a live home dog because Wisconsin's quarterback just sucks. But I don't know that you go under. Even though with Wisconsin, they don't score a lot and they have a great defense. Purdue, this probably won't hit 40. Or you take Purdue a 9 after the Iowa win. LSU, Mississippi 9 over LSU. Southern Alabama 13.5 over Louisiana Monroe. Liberty, North Texas. Liberty minus 21.5. The spread stayed. UTSA 6 is stayed. Western Kentucky still 15. The Air Force still 3. Notre Dame went from 6.5 to 7. It's probably a good matchup passing wise for Notre Dame, but USC can throw the ball too. I think over is a good play here. 57, you go over 51. I see the over went up to 59 from 57, so that seems to be the good play there. And Nevada, Fresno State 3.5, 64, hasn't moved. And Hawaii, they put in all these bullshit games in the middle. Let's get down to Hawaii. Hawaii 1862, so the over went from 60 to 62. So as far as injuries, I know Mississippi State's quarterback's questionable. Mississippi's quarterback, I think, is out. LSU's Bote is out. So that LSU-Mississippi game, if Coral's out, I mean, you got to like LSU, what they did against Florida last week, where they lit them up. Any other? Memphis quarterback was out, and Memphis got killed by UCF yesterday, 24-7. I'm just going through my notes. So Texas State I have against Georgia State, very weak defense. Akron, a weak defense against Buffalo. Buffalo might actually get a win. Penn State's quarterback, again, we don't know. BC's quarterback we know is out. The Navy quarterback, I believe, he's listed as doubtful. Lavali, who seems to be better than the other ones because they were really struggling, but he's injured. So that's probably why that Cincinnati line went from 27 to 29. And again, the Army quarterback, this is a problem when you want to run those type of running quarterbacks like you do. They do get injured a lot. They're not really big guys like the fullbacks or the tailbacks, so they could get injured with all that running that they have to do. So, again, Anderson's out, the backup's playing, and, again, it makes it a tough play. I got 4 locks going today, www.teaserking.com to get those. Very strong plays. If I find one, I find one. If I don't find any, I don't find any. It's games that I'm very comfortable in betting. So that's what I'm doing. So I have 4 of those. I have a pro locked with one of the college locks. I got a lot of plays, and you can see there's a lot of good plays that I played. I've hit SMU already on Thursday. I had SMU 14 down to 8, and they won 55-26. That was a game. SMU, this is a standings game. So why did I lock so many? Well, part of the reason is for the playoff, and part of the reason is for conference championships. So here you have a team like Cincinnati, which I talked about, lane 27, now 29 to Navy. They need the game for the playoffs, right? They're new. They can't stumble. They can't win by 7 and think they're going to make the playoffs because You got Georgia, you got Georgia, Cincinnati, you got Alabama, you got Ohio State, you got the Oklahoma State winner in. Clemson's out. They got 2 losses, but if Pitt beats Clemson, Pitt's going to want one of the positions. So you got 7 or 8 teams going for it. So if Cincinnati beats Navy by 7, they're going to say, well, Cincinnati's not that good. Yeah, the Notre Dame game was okay, but, and then you got to hope Notre Dame doesn't lose to USC. So Cincinnati becomes extremely live now against a team that really is weak, Navy. Navy's a Z team as far as I can see. They don't score a lot, and now their quarterback sunk. They bring in a new quarterback. They get a little bit better, and then he's hurt. So he might play, but how long is he going to play? It's sort of like Beckham and Landry in the Cleveland game. They were injured. They were listed as, doubtful. They play, they get re-injured. So even if the kid plays, he's not 100%. He's going to be banged up more. Cincinnati's got a tough defense. Like I said, the coach for Ohio State. Ohio State knew how to defend Army and Navy, and I remember them playing Navy and just eating them up. They didn't, they knew how to defend them. So Fickell knows that. He was at Ohio State. He'll know how to defend them. And once you can defend them with that offense, Cincinnati, and I love their running back Ford and Ritter. And again, they have to win by, 30, 40 points, or they might get knocked out of the playoff talk, or, at least knocked down. And, right now they're 2, but look at Iowa losing to Purdue. And all of a sudden they're 6 or 7. They're out of the playoff picture. They now got to win the rest of the games, beat Ohio State in the Big Ten playoff to hopefully make the playoff. So Cincinnati does not want to risk that. So they have that incentive. But that's where I got a lot of my strong plays and locks was that. And I did not lock Cincinnati, just to be fair with you. But that was the modem of what I'm doing this week. Now you start getting the standings to come in. And the same in the pros. You look for strong teams that are behind. I would say Seattle, but without Russell Wilson, there's not much they can do. But like KC, after their loss, they came on strong. They lost to Buffalo. They came on strong. I look for them to be strong this week. When good teams need to win, they win. Alabama off their loss. I'm just going to keep betting them out because they can't afford to lose. And when Alabama wants to beat the hell out of you, they beat the hell out of you. Tennessee does not have the defense that A&M had, although I didn't even think A&M had the offense to score on Alabama. So Georgia's still the best, but they're off this week. Cincinnati, Ohio State, Alabama, just take all those teams. Here's where you bet the cream, and they have to blow out. It's beautiful. Ohio State has 1 loss. Alabama has 1 loss. Clemson's gone with 2 losses, but you still love them under because of that. UCLA, Oregon's a key game. Tease the dog there. Utah, Oregon State's a key game, but I took the game over. What else? USC Notre Dame. I like the over 59 just because USC can't, Utah lit them up, Oregon State lit them up, and Stanford lit them up. So it gets good passing teams. I'm not even sure if Stanford has a good passing team. I know Oregon State does, and Utah is getting better. Utah is scoring a lot of points. I thought they were an under team, but when I'm looking at the scores, they're putting up 40s on Arizona State, on USC. They lost to BYU, but I think that was with the other quarterback. Notre Dame can light up USC today, and I think USC can light up Notre Dame pretty good. So I think you'll see, 53, 28, 24, 52. So 30 to 27, and I think you'll get that. I think USC gives up 40 in this game. And then, Nevada, Fresno State's another big game. Again, take the dog, tease the dog in the game. That's what you're looking for is strong dogs, and or the Ohio State, Cincinnati, Alabama route. So you're looking for those teams. Like Wyoming, New Mexico. How do you play Wyoming in late 20? You can't take New Mexico. So it's games like that you just stay away from. It's very hard to make good money on that. And again, I'm here to teach you to win. We're here to win. Morning, Glenn. How are you? I see a lot of your Twitters, and thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're here to win, so you want to build your bankroll. That's critical. It's like playing poker. If I go to MGM tonight and play poker, I take my bankroll. I play 1-2 no limit because I like to see flops and I'll play everybody. So I am very sneaky, and I know people are trying to pick up my tells, so I give a lot of fake tells. Real quick side story. I was listening to a Daniel Negreanu YouTube, and I don't get him at all. This modern poker theory reminds me of MMT, which is Keynesian, and I got to throw up when I'm listening to him. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Modern poker theory. There's no such thing. Poker's poker. I flop aces. It's the same way I would play the hand 20 years ago as the way I'm playing it this year. Maybe they did all these 5 and 6 pre-flop bets like a bunch of idiots, bluffing, and everybody knows they're bluffing because you're not going to play aces or kings like that. But there's nothing changes. It's like betting football. Nothing changes. It's Alabama off a loss playing Tennessee. They're going to kick their ass. It's been the same way since the 70s when I would bet the Steelers and Terry Bradshaw, or I'd bet Joe Montana. If they came off a loss, they needed the game, I'd bet on them. Nothing changes. It's all the same. You're betting on the best players and coaches. In poker, you got a good hand, you're protecting it. I got aces and 2 hearts flop. I'm betting a lot because I want to protect my aces, because I realize once 5 cards are out, aces are a terrible hand. Because most of the time, 2 pairs is going to beat you, or a straight or a flush. But that's after 5 cards come out. The other biggest mistake I see in poker is nobody bets the turn. The turn's the action card, because on the river, they're going to bluff you. And then you got to decide, is it a bluff? But if you make that bet on this, so I got aces, there's 2 hearts on the flop. The turn comes, it's a club. I'm making a huge bet with my aces because I don't want them to catch the heart on the river. I mean, I got to protect. It's insurance. It's like buying gold. You protect yourself. And these guys check the turn, and then the guy bluffs them on the river, and they fold. And you're like, well, dude, if you would have bet the turn, you wouldn't have this problem. Modern poker theory, huh? I mean, I've been doing that since I was 13 years old. That's the key is the betting, and the key is knowing your player. That hasn't changed and will never change. The guy's a bluffer. You watch when he checks. He's got a hand. If the guy is tight, he's an older guy, and he's gonna, he's only in with good hands. Then if you got a real strong hand, you can bet it. And he's gonna call you. I mean, it's not that difficult. And that's really where I'm learning. That's where I've learned the football. It's again. South Carolina, Texas A&M, they're laying 21. South Carolina sucks, but A&M doesn't have a good offense. So can I rely on A&M to make me money? And I don't think I can lay 21 there. Good God, the over is 45. Anyway, but the Clemson under has been good to me so far. Army, Wake Forest, don't know. Again, if the quarterback's playing, then I go over in the game, but otherwise I don't know. Andy, I money line heavy this week: Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Alabama, Texas A&M, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, Arizona, Green Bay, and the Rams. Okay. Do you know if the Penn State quarterback's playing? Well, I'm just curious about Penn State, if their quarterback's playing. If he is, then yeah, it's a really good bet. If he's out, they should still beat who the hell are they playing? Illinois. I mean, they should still beat Illinois because Illinois's got no offense at all, and they got a fairly good defense. But that would be my only question mark is Penn State. What you can do, that's Cincinnati College. Yeah, so I would replace Penn State with New England, I think, or Baltimore in the pros. Whatever gives you a bigger bang. Well, they're both 6.5, 7s. But that's the only concern with Penn State is the quarterback. They're at home. They should beat Illinois anyway. But if you're going to make this huge parlay, I wouldn't want Penn State in it without their quarterback. Yeah, I would say that. Otherwise, it looks good. Tampa win or Green Bay, the Rams. What is your odds on that? Because you've got a lot of big favorites in the game. What odds do you get on that? What do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's a 10-team money line. So it should give you good odds. But I would maybe switch Penn State with New England. Gives you A, better odds, and B, unless you know Penn State's quarterback. Let me go look at the injuries real quick. So I go to covers.com for injuries. And let's see what they say. I'm curious about the Army quarterback and the Penn State. It's a lot of these go game day, so you don't really know, like on covers.com, if they're going to play or not. That's where you got to look at the line. Come on. Hold on. I clicked on the site, but it's not coming up. My internet must be slow. Come on. I'm not getting anything. Here it comes. Okay. Army. Yeah, see, Anderson, questionable Saturdays with the shoulder. But this is dated Sunday, October 17th. So they haven't updated it. And all you can do is look at the line. Maybe he's playing because it's a 3. So let's look at Penn State. Mm-hmm. Clifford, questionable Saturday upper body. And again, that's dated Sunday. So that doesn't really help us. All you can really do is go by the line. And if the line, the line did move from 23.5 to 24. So it looks like he is playing. So, yeah, you could probably get away with that. But he's the key. I don't know how good the backup is, but against Illinois, they're such a weak team, but they do have a good defense. That would be your only risky one. Let me see if I can find you a replacement game. Florida State should kill UMass, but they're laying 35. That's going to hurt your odds, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that works. How about Oklahoma? They're 38. They're going to kill Kansas. You've got Cincinnati. UAB should kill Rice. They're 23-point favorites. Rice is terrible. Yeah, that's probably all. The others are kind of dogs that you don't want to put in a money line. Just take the dog. So what are your odds on that 10-team money liner? I hope you're getting like at least 10-1, if not more. I mean, even though it's a money line, maybe you go higher. Maybe 10-point teasers. This is a good week for me to play one of these 10-team teasers on the card at Caesars, where you get pretty good odds. You throw down a $20 bet on a 10-teamer, but I got, in college, I got so many games. It's crazy. And then I was still waiting on Penn State's quarterback and Army's quarterback. And then I think the Purdue under or Purdue, I haven't played yet. Otherwise, I got most of mine played. I've got Clemson under. That's should be a good one. Ohio State. Yeah. Penn State I like. Well, actually, I like Penn State under if the quarterback's out. Otherwise, well, I'll probably still go under. I think they'll shut out Illinois. I don't think Illinois scores in the game. So probably a 27-0 if he doesn't play, and maybe 41-0 if he does play. But they should find a way. Any other questions or comments? Again, we're here to win, and the best way to win is mess around with your, I don't know what you're betting. Let's just use an example. So the lock might go for 500, and then you might play the regular games 100, and then you just hope the lock wins, and then the lock you put in. So let's say Cincinnati's not my lock, but let's say it's a strong play. I'll play them in 2 teasers. I think they're going to win, and then so that because if you play 4 different teams, it's hard to win teasers. Why teasers? Well, that makes a huge difference. Like in the NFL, especially where they just try to win the game. They don't keep piling it on. Like Oklahoma, like Alabama, 25. You might need a teaser to get down under 20 in this game. Tennessee could score a late touchdown. And as Kentucky showed us against Georgia, they know the point spread. Ohio State for years, Urban Meyer knew the point spread, and they'd get this late touchdown to cover. Penn State quarter. Okay, then if he's playing, then go ahead with it. Then it's that looks all good. A&M South Carolina is terrible. But that would be it. Green Bay. Yeah, I mean, I like the pros. Like I said, if you want to add New England to that, or almost you can add Baltimore. I like both New England and Baltimore tomorrow. Arizona, I'm not playing in a teaser. It's too big a spread, but for your money line, it's perfect. So the Rams will kill Detroit. And the others, let's see in the pros. Arizona, Tampa, the Rams, New England, Green Bay, and Baltimore, I think are the games I would. I'm not going to tease Arizona just because it's 18. I got to lay 12, and then pros. I don't. Too many backdoor covers. As bad as Mills is, he looked good against New England, so maybe he's getting better. They're figuring it out. Yeah, Houston's terrible. Detroit's terrible. This will be a weird one with Goff and Stafford. Goff's terrible. Stafford's going to want to stick it in Detroit's ass, that's for sure. But anyway, so today, so I'm watching. So most of my plays are, Cincy needs it for the bowl. Ohio State needs it for the bowl. Alabama needs it, for the playoff. Alabama needs it. Georgia's off. The Oregon UCLA winner probably wins the Pac-10, although they got to play Oregon State, Utah's the same way. Both teams need to win. Oak State, Iowa State. Oak State's undefeated, needs to keep winning to play Oklahoma. Alabama needs the game. They did lose. They're not going to lose to Tennessee. What else do we got here? Penn State obviously needs. Michigan needs the game. They're undefeated. If they want to go to the playoff, they need to keep winning, and they need to somehow figure out how to beat Ohio State. Good luck on that one. Iowa needs it, but they're not playing. UTSA needs the game. They are undefeated in their conference. Air Force and San Diego State, that's for the conference title there. So that's a big game. Nevada, Fresno State on the other side of that. They're the other side of the Mountain West. It's the same thing there. The winner wins the title, and in that game you like the dog. So you try to focus on the teams that really need the game. They're a little bit more motivated, and again, just look at these with no spreads and just look at the game and pick the score. And then that'll give you a lot of winners doing it like that. That's how I find, because you get polluted by the point spread. Oh, they're 24 points. And you got to think of it before you see the spread. And then, oh, they're going to win by 10. The spread's 20. And you go, oh, wait, that's a bad spread. I like the dog in the game. So that's what you're trying to do, is come up with like Virginia, Georgia Tech, the line 7. Is that really true? Is Virginia going to beat them by 7? And Georgia Tech's so inconsistent, you just have no idea. They beat North Carolina and then got killed by Pitt. And now you see Pitt's pretty good. And this will be a really interesting game, Clemson Pitt. I bet it under 54.5 or 53.5, whatever I got. And, Pitt's laying 3.5. I pondered Clemson in 9. Pitt has a really good quarterback in Pickett. They score a lot of points. They're not going to score a lot of points in Clemson. Here's one of my rules. When a strong defensive team like a Clemson, like a Georgia, like a Kentucky plays a good offensive team, you saw what Kentucky did to Florida and what Georgia does to everybody and what Clemson does to everybody. They don't score. It's so hard to score on these defenses. So defense beats offense all the time. So it would not surprise me if Clemson won. Pitt needs the game for the playoff. If they went out, because Clemson's got 2 losses, they're not going to the ace, to the playoff for this year because of their quarterback stinks. So the quarterback stinks makes them a hard dog, because they don't have Joe Montana, who, if they're down 20, can still win the game for you. This kid ain't going to win the game against Pitt. Pitt's the better team here. They're the A team. Clemson's the U team. So Pitt has a decent defense. And they played a good team last week and beat them 28-7. I think it was Virginia Tech. It was another good, strong defensive team. But they only got 28. So here, this is why I like the under, because you've got a Clemson team that's not going to let Pitt blow them out. There's no way Pitt blows them out. And Clemson's not going to score. So the realistic way to play is you got Pitt an A team, which means they got a good under. They got a good defense. Clemson, we know, has a great defense and absolutely no offense, unless the guy's smart enough to switch quarterbacks. And I don't get why the coach isn't switching quarterbacks unless they all transferred. This is the thing with the transfer portal. The second stringer starts crying he's not the starter, and he transfers over to Kentucky or something. I mean, there's 3 or 4 Clemson. There's a Clemson quarterback on Appalachian State. He goes from Clemson to Appalachian State. That shows his skill set, Bryce. So he wasn't starting. He goes and cries, and then he plays at App State, and he stinks there. He's just not a good quarterback. But I don't like that they cry, and then when Clemson makes a mistake and their quarterback's not very good, they can't get out of it because all the backups have transferred out. It's insane. So you got to keep an eye on that. But knowing the quarterback sucks and the defense is great, it's an under. That's why Army and Wake Forest, I'm looking at the under. I'm looking at the quarterback. Because if Anderson plays, I love it. Army and 9. I'd like the Army and the dog when that quarterback plays. He was getting 75-yard runs. They were rushing for a ton of yards, and they were blowing out people. They were putting up 35, 40 points a game. But without them, they're a different team, and that's what you look for. Then they don't score a lot, and they're an under team like they showed against Wisconsin. Problem is Wake Forest is a very strong team. They're an A team, and I like their quarterback, Hartman, and I think they're going to be able to score on Army a little easier with the balance. So that's why without the quarterback, I can't take Army and 9, so then it leads me to another Army under, because without the quarterback, they're not going to score as much. That's what I'm looking at. Watch the Oregon UCLA, should be a good game. Tease the dog. Oregon State, Utah. Utah's scoring a ton, and Oregon State can score a ton. I got a good quarterback, good running back. Utah changed quarterbacks. So that game I like over because it's 56. you go over 50s, and then one team gets into 30, and they're both scoring in the high 30s when they need to. And in this game, they're both Bs. So Oregon State, they're a very strong offensive team. I love their quarterback, Nolan, and Utah switched quarterbacks. And they put up 35 on Arizona State's defense last week. So that's how I'm looking at it, right? You got Arizona, Arizona State's got that good defense. Herman Edwards running the Eagles defense. So here comes Utah, and they put up 35 on it. Well, they're going to put up 35 on Oregon State then, but Oregon State's got the offense to match them. They put up, I think, 30 on Washington or 24. They beat Washington, and then they put up a 30 on Washington State, who's not that strong, and put up a 40-something on USC, who we can see can't cover the pass. So that makes this a really good overplay, I think. I think that over 56 is way too low. This should be a 65-point over-under. Here's where I think the line's low, and we're going to take advantage of the line being low. Good God, man. 10-team money line, and you're not even money? Oh, my. I don't know that I would bet a 10-team money line and not get 3-4 to 1 odds. Is it because you're taking such heavy favorites that you need smaller favorites? So what if you put New England in there and they're 7-point favorites? They're going to kill the Jets. If you put them in, does it get you, 1.5 to 1? I mean, I can't believe you got to bet 10 teams. I don't know what site you're on, Andy, but I'd be looking for a different site with a different odds. It sounds like a FanDuel or an MGM site, because stay away from MGM when you're betting. The odds are terrible. But you're picking 10 games. I don't care money line or not. To just picking 10 games, you should be 3 or 4 to 1. I don't care that it's money line or not. Picking 10 games is picking 10 games. If you go to a teaser card and you pick 10 winners, I think I want to say it's like at least 25 to 1. I remember when I hit my 10 and 11 team teasers, I think I bet 20. I won 500 on the 11 team, and I won like 450 on the 10 team. That's how you want to play 10, 11 teams. That's the advantage of the teaser. Your odds are terrible there. And in the teaser, if you did all that in a teaser, you'd be getting at least 20 to 1 or so. And, it's a little obviously more risk. That's why you're getting 20 to 1. But I guess, what are you betting, 600 to win 500, I guess, on that to make it worth your while? So I guess if you're doing that, it should be gold. I would say if you lose any, you'd lose A&M because they're the weakest. But again, South Carolina's terrible, so you're betting against them. Or you could take UAB over Rice. Rice couldn't beat a high school game. They are heavy favorites, etc. 500. Yeah, okay. So you can pick up 600. Do you do this often? I mean, do you win like a lot of the time doing this 10-team money line, or is it like you only do it a few times? Because it's really, it's okay, but picking 10 games, even if it's money line and 20-point favorites do lose. So, yeah. Well, I guess if you're comfortable, I would think you'd win the 600 more than you'd lose the 5, but it still seems ridiculous odds. I would hunt for better odds. I would hunt for 500 to win 800, not 600 to win 5. Or are you saying you're getting 75 to 80%, 600? Well, that's good. I do that with my teasers, 75%. But you got to watch the one that you lose. When I lose, that's why I try to put my locks in 2 teasers. If I just play 4 teams and I do 75%, we're breaking even. We're losing juice because I'm going 3-1. That means 1 teaser wins, 1 loses. But if I put Cincinnati and 2 teasers, then all of a sudden, if Cincinnati wins, which I think they should, obviously, then I only have to pick 2. Now I only have to go 3-0, not 3. The other way I got to go 4-0. Here I got to go 3-0. That's the point of when you find a lock, you put it in multiple teasers. Then it's 3-0, and that's huge versus 4-0. It's easier for me to go 3-0 than it is to go 4-0, obviously. But when I find a week like this, this is when you would play a 10-team teaser. The 11-team teaser I won was Christmas. Peyton Manning was playing. This is when Florida State won the title over Auburn. And it was like the last week of the NFL, and all the 1s and 2 seeds had to win to keep the 1 and 2 seeds. And then you had other plays. And so it was just, so that was 4 winners. The 1s won, the 2s won. A couple other teams needed to get it to win to make the playoffs. They won. So I had 8 winners in pro. And then I had Michigan State over Stanford in the Rose Bowl. I had Florida State to beat Auburn by 1. And I think I had UCLA when that running quarterback, Bethel Thompson, I think. He was there, and they were playing a weak team, and he ran all over the place, and they won by 30 points. And that was my 11. And but I had 11 good plays. I had really strong. It was like all the one, Manning and Brady, they all needed to win. They won by 20. Everybody covered. And other teams that needed to win won. So that's when you bet the 11-team teaser. You don't just bet it every week. You bet it when you got, like this week, I got so many plays. And I haven't even played Purdue yet, and I haven't played there's a couple that I was with, like Army. I haven't played it. I haven't played Purdue. I haven't played the Notre Dame game yet. So all those, I got 3 more plays, and I've got at least 10 played. My customers just laugh. They go, so many plays. How do I bet them? And well, this is how you win betting football. You find good plays and you bet them. The reason there's so many good plays in college is so many conferences. So you find the A team in the conference, like Cincinnati over the Z team, the Navy. Well, that's that conference. You got Ohio State in this conference. You got Alabama in this conference. You got Oregon, UCLA in that conference. You got Clemson, Pitt over here. Just a second, Andy. That's why. So you got plays in each conference. That's why it makes it so appealing. When I saw 4-point teasers in the NBA, I said, "What's the point?" Because they can hit 3-pointers. Maybe when the old Pistons and Magic Johnson and Bird, you could play anytime Bird was laying 4. If it wasn't the Lakers, you could just tease it down. They'd kill the Bills. Same thing with the Lakers off of a loss. The Pistons, when they came in, they would just win. I mean, you didn't need to tease it, but I thought the 4-point teaser, unless it's changed, and I really haven't looked at it, but I don't know if that's enough points. So I really focus on football. So basketball is going on. I really don't have time. It takes so much to study it. Maybe once the bowl season ends in January, I can do a more serious deep dive into the NBA and college. But I think it's the same theories. You find the bad road dogs, you find the good home favorites, you find the strong teams off of a loss. The difference is in the NBA, you got 2 games and back-to-back games, 3 games in 4 nights. So you end up now you've got to add a column for back-to-back games. You got to add a column 3 games in 4 nights. The West Coast trip, the Pistons would go and play 6 games on the West Coast versus playing at home or against Philly and Boston. So it made it, there's so many variables that you got to look for. It made it difficult. And I thought just playing the games straight out, in football, I can take a 7 down. I can get under 3, let's say, right? That's the beauty of a 6-point teaser. as we know, these games are somewhat fixed by the referees, the mysterious holding call, the pass interference. They want the TV rating. So the team up 14, all of a sudden, the other team drives down the field on a very mysterious pass interference call where the guys, where earlier in the game it wasn't called, late in the game it's called. And then next thing you know, they score to make the game 7 to keep the viewers. I mean, don't kid yourself. That's exactly what's going on and more in pro than college. College, you just, Ohio State runs away and they're up 40. What are they going to do? But in college and pro, they definitely do that. Again, they want the audience, they want the advertising, so they want the viewers to watch the whole game. That's why you see all these terrible calls at the end. The refs get way too involved. Too much of this bullshit offensive interference. That should never be called unless the guy pushes him to the ground. If he's extending his arms just to turn around, it's just a reflex. It's not interference. I hate when they call offensive interference. It's so stupid. But basically, the defender's got his hand on the guy the whole way, but you can't touch him after 5 yards. They don't call that. Anyway, so there's a lot more in the pros where you need to get it, and it's 6 points is a big enough points to get it where it's under 3, it's over 10, it's over 7. So you can take a 2-point game and go 8. Or like this week, New England, I can go -1 and play with Green Bay -1.5, and all they got to do is win. Versus now it's a 7.5. Green Bay wins by 7 because they don't care, because at the end they're winning and they're up by 10. They kick a field goal. They're up 14. They get a late touchdown. Green Bay doesn't care to stop it because they just want the ball and they're going to take the knee. So that's why in the pros, it's such a good weapon, the teaser. And the odds used to be even money when I was younger. It was beautiful, but then now it shows you how good the teaser is when they make the odds 13-10. So anyway, I'll look into it, but I don't know if it's changed and what the odds are, but I don't know that you need to tease the NBA versus just playing it. If you notice that a lot of the games you're laying 4 and they win by 1, then yeah, you can make them even, but I don't know if 4 is enough with the 3-point shot. Unless they've made it 6 or 7 points, I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a few years, but same theory. You look for the strength, you look for the weakness, you bet against the weakness, you bet the strength after a loss when they're really pissed off. They could get tired back-to-back games or 3 games in 4 nights. And, the key is the team that needs to win. Kansas City, they need to win. They've lost. Then you bet on them. You got to be careful with like Buffalo. They didn't need to win. They didn't play their best game because they didn't need to win. Now watch KC play Tennessee, and KC needs to win. Now watch the outcome tomorrow with that. Any other questions on today's games? Please ask them. I've hit pretty much the big ones. I try to avoid like Ball State, Miami of Ohio. No, thank you. I just don't know in that game. They're so inconsistent. Normally, I look for the A and Z and the MAC, and normally I've been betting Buffalo and cleaning up on Buffalo, but not this year. They're laying 11 to Akron today. Akron's the W, but Buffalo's not an A anymore. They're an E. And last year, I'd have locked the game, Buffalo-Akron. This year, I can't trust Buffalo. Georgia Tech beats North Carolina by 50 and then loses the Pitt by 50. So those teams I don't like to play. I like to stick. Like I know Alabama's going to put up 45 points today. The problem, the over-under is 67. Will Tennessee score that many points against this Alabama? They'll start running the ball. And I could see 45-17, like the Mississippi game. If Mississippi could put up 21 and the one was a late touchdown. So if Ole Miss is putting up 14, Tennessee's not going to do much better. So that's why I like Alabama versus the over here. But that's what you're looking at. 8-point 3-team teasers, 6. So you bet 600 to win 500 on an 8-point 3-team teaser. How about a 6-point 3-team teaser? You should get odds on that. You should get like 1.5. I think a 4-team. I used to get 2-1 on a 4-team 6-point teaser. Why 8-point? So I assume when you're saying you bet 6 to win 5, not you bet 5 to win 6. That's what you got up top, the 5 to win 6. So here you're betting 6 to win 5. See, that's ridiculous. Does the 8 points help you more than a 6-pointer? That's always my argument. Even on the 10-pointers, I do very well with 6 points. I don't know that I need 10. Yeah, once I'd say 1 in 20, I lose by a point where the 8 or 10 points would have helped me. But normally 6 points is fine. Taking New England down to 1. If I get New England +1 isn't going to help me. If I get Green Bay 7.5, I got a -1.5 plus a half isn't going to help me. Either I think Green Bay is going to win or I don't. And if I think they're going to win, then they're going to win by at least a field goal. I think they're going to win by more. Otherwise, I don't bet them. So I think Green Bay wins by like 14 points. Otherwise, I'm not thinking it's a good play. I've heard these guys on like BetMGM or these new radio shows where it's all about FanDuel or BetMGM, and they're giving you all these picks. Oh, I took the over in the baseball game, and this, it's all bullshit. They're not real. They're just trying to get you to bet. Just so you use the app. So if you hear them betting, like you're supposed to write down their bets and just follow them like sheep. Like these guys know what they're talking about. And if you'd listen to them, they're a bunch of idiots. One guy, all he looks at the number. He says, I don't care about the team. I'm too stupid to pick the game. I just look at the number. And if it's 4, I take it. Like he took Denver, Cleveland. He took, I think it was 4. I take Denver because they're +4. That was the only reason. Not because Mayfield's out, not because anything, because the spread. And then the spread went to 1. And I like Cleveland because they're only laying 1. Dude, if you don't know who's going to win the game, you don't understand matchups, don't freaking bet football. You've got to know. All my picks are like Cincinnati. They're going to win like 50 to nothing today. That's my point. That's the pick. If it goes to 29, I'm not taking freaking Navy because of the points. And at 27, I like Cincinnati at 29, kick it down to 21. That's what I like. I like Cincinnati -21 because I think they're going to win. I know what I think the score is going to be based on last week's 50-point win over UCF, who's got a much stronger offense and a better team than Navy because they need it for the bowl. So therefore, they're not going to let down, and they're going to go and crush the Navy. That's the point. You've got to know Alabama's going to beat Tennessee. They've got the loss. That's why you bet. You don't bet because, it's +4, and my math shows me if I get +4, I'm going to win so much of the game. It's insane. I don't know what these guys, this whole math analytics thing doesn't work. If you hear it run, it's just absolute bullshit. And I've been doing this. Like I talked earlier about Daniel Negreanu's modern poker theory bullshit. When you hear that run, poker hasn't changed. This hasn't changed. I made the same bet in 1975 with the Steelers as I'm making with Alabama now. If they need a win and they're laying 7, I laid 1. Nothing has changed. The key is, this is what they don't understand, is you play the best team when they need to win. Cincinnati, Ohio State, Alabama today need to win. You play them. You don't fuck around with them. You don't go against them. But you don't play like I said, you don't play the Ball State Miami game because of a point spread. Well, Ball State's laying 5.5. I'm going to take Miami of Ohio because they're getting 5.5. That's ridiculous. That guy probably can't name a player on the team. You got to look at the injuries. You got to look at does Ball State or Miami need the game? Well, they're both so bad. I would never touch that game. Oklahoma, yeah, they need it over Kansas. They replaced Rattler. Watch Rattler cry and go to another school. We'll go to SMU next year. Seems like all of the old Oklahoma quarterbacks go to SMU. That's where Mordecai, and he's lighting it up at SMU. You wonder, why don't they just go to SMU? Why do they waste their time at Oklahoma? Because if you're not a running quarterback like a Kyler Murray and like Jalen Hurts, you're not going to do well at Oklahoma. Look at Rattler. He doesn't do shit because he's supposed to run, because the offense is a terrible offense. It's the fast receivers running down the field, and then the quarterback waits for the rush and runs. That's his offense. So if you're not a fast quarterback, what's the point? But that's the problem with his offense. It's a gimmick offense, but that's the point of it. The reason Mayfield does well is because he was from Texas Tech, where they actually taught you how to play quarterback. And I think the same thing with Kyler Murray. I think he was a Texas Tech guy, and then he went to Oklahoma. But the Texas Tech guy probably didn't like that he ran. He liked that he passed more. Again, the night game, if you need a night game, take Nevada over Fresno State. Notre Dame, I don't know what time they're playing at, but take Notre Dame or the over. I know one guy asked me about Notre Dame on the other show. I think it's a good matchup for Notre Dame as far as you can pass on USC, and they're good passing, but I don't really trust their Cone that much because he's a Wisconsin quarterback. But I do see it getting over. I do think USC can score with Slovis, and I do see Notre Dame scoring a lot of points in this game. So 59-53, I think. One team hits 30, the other is 20, and you got a W. And both quarterbacks, well, the Notre Dame quarterback's okay, but USC's got Slovis, who's really good. So again, you're looking at quarterbacks, and I go to Yahoo and I get the stats, and then you can pull quarterbacks for the year, and then you just look at their Pickett, the quarterback on Pitt's got like 26 touchdowns and like 2 interceptions. That's my guy. Some of these guys, they're in a good offense, and they've got like 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. They're not getting the like the Iowa State. Brock Purdy is a good quarterback, but he doesn't get the touchdowns. So he's got like 4 touchdowns, and you're shocked that he only has 4 touchdowns, but he's not productive. They don't have Montgomery. That's Iowa State's problem, is they lost the running back, and then they would just do play action. Now Purdy has no play action, and he doesn't throw touchdowns. That's Iowa State's problem. Oak State, like a team like Baylor, you love because they run for 300 and they pass for 300. Good luck defending that. So that's what you're looking for in the stats, is to see that. And then you got to be careful who they played. Make sure that, like, Oregon beat Ohio State, says, okay, Oregon beat Ohio State. Oregon's in for the rest of the year unless their quarterback gets injured. Other teams that play Lehigh and Lafayette and these weak teams, you still don't have a clue, and it fucks up their stats because they win 70-0 isn't a real stat. So you got to take them out. Maryland does that a lot. They play the weak teams and run it up, and then against Iowa and Ohio State, they don't show up because they're really not that good. So that's what you want to watch: is team against a really good team to see how good they are. Okay, Oregon, very good. Maryland, not very good. And so you get that. Anything else? It's kickoff time. It's 12:17. Any other questions? I think I covered most of it. Again, I got 4 locks going and about 5-6 other plays, and then and then I got about 5 in the pros tomorrow. It gets hard. I don't like laying 17 and 15 and 12. I see so many high spreads. I got to keep an eye on it, but there are a lot of shitty teams in the pros. As I said, there was like 6 teams that were W's or Z's. What the hell is that? The Lions and Houston and the Jets. I mean, how can the Jets be bad every year? They should they should be demoted to college. You go to the ACC, the Jets, and we're going to bring Clemson up into the pros or something. It's about what it should be, because these teams, this is the problem with the TV revenue. They should be suffering. If you don't win, you should not, like the Lions. They don't win, and they still make the money. which is why they don't pay the player. So they stumble on a good player, but then look what happened. Look at the receiver, Galladay, right? Good receiver, all pro. What happens? He goes and they let him go free agent because he would cost them money. And, the only one they paid was Stafford for some reason. And then they finally let him go. And then they got Goff, who's cheaper and a lot worse. If they do draft a quarterback, it'll just be for money, so they don't have to pay him. But I'm sure they'll screw that draft pick up. Anyway, any other questions, let me know. Again, go to the site, www.teaserking.com. 4 locks today, 1 lock tomorrow. It's about a strong place all through the board. If you want to play multiple teasers, you'll have all the picks there, and they're all very strong this week. The more info I get, the stronger I get, because then I can see this. I can weed out the crap teams like the Buffalo I played in week 2. I'm not playing now, but I am picking up Baylor and Oklahoma State and the Clemson under and things like that. You start picking up. All right, everybody. Well, good luck today. I hope you all win. I'll be on probably about this time tomorrow, probably like 11. I'll try to get on. Kickoff's at 1, so it doesn't do you any good if I come out late. Here, there's a bunch of 3:30 and night games, so it's okay. All right, no more questions. I am going to sign off. Have a great day. Good luck, everybody.